Well, you know they say more money, more problems. More money, more problems. That's the saying. And that is the case here for the WNBA, as it seems that the commissioners are stuck operating a war between NBA owners and WNBA owners for power of the league. And this is having an effect on the 2026 CBA negotiations. There's a lot going on. You've seen Adam Silver say, hey, he's going to step in. We have to break this down. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, and hype the video. Now,
the WNBA recently sent shockwaves through its own league, forcing an independent owner to sell their team to an NBA owner rather than the highest bidder. There was no consensus on this. It was an order from above. Millions were taken off of the final sale price in a vicious show of power. The proprietors of the Connecticut Suns were completely taken aback, caught in an unexpected, high-stakes struggle for dominance. An intense conflict between the league's autonomous groups and the influential NBA-affiliated owners is sparked by this unusual step. The 2026 season's credibility is currently under jeopardy. In this internal struggle, Caitlin Clark's enormous contribution to the league has all of a sudden turned into a weapon.
Transportation, a lot of things. But Caitlin Clark has come into this league and single-handedly changed the value of the league. She's changed everything about this league. Yes, there were a lot of things in talk and things in the works, like private jets and things like that before Caitlin Clark got here. Before she got here, they was flying private on back-to-backs, commissioner cups, and I believe maybe like playoff games or something like that. But once she got here, it was PJs for everybody all the time. She has changed the value of the players in this league. She's changed up the value of the entire league to the point where you have.
This goes beyond a single team sale. It is the result of a long simmering struggle for dominance between the independent team owners, the WNBA's own commissioners, and the powerful NBA owners who also have a stake. The WNBA operated on an unwritten agreement for many years. However, that delicate peace has now broken due to a huge infusion of fresh funds and attention. The battle lines have been established, and this internal power struggle poses a serious danger to the league's future structure as well as crucial CBA discussions, altering everything.
Body all the time. She has changed the value of the players in this league. She's changed up the value of the entire league to the point where you have these owners willing to come in and spend $350 million to get them a team. Before, for these NBA owners, this was just a write-off. This was just a charity at one point. Remember when Alex Rodriguez purchased the Minnesota Lynx, they were a throw-in on the deal. He did not want the Minnesota Lynx. Okay, but he saw they had a good culture there. The fans enjoyed the team, so he kept it around out of respect, and he just didn't.
Caitlin Clark is the unmistakable force at the center of this violent struggle. Her entry into the league has single-handedly exploded its worth, turning what many saw as a little endeavor into a multi-million-dollar business overnight. Talk of growth and significant investments seemed like far-off dreams prior to Clark. However, the league is now a real treasure trove. Her influence extended beyond increased viewing. It brought attention and money to the WNBA like never before, rebalancing the entire financial scene and making it a prize worth competing for.
He did not want the Minnesota Lynx, okay? But he saw they had a good culture there. The fans enjoyed the team, so he kept it around out of respect, and he just didn't. But it wasn't like something he really wanted. He didn't even want it at first. So at the end of the day, this has been a charity league for a lot of these owners, but Caitlin Clark has changed that. And now there's real money involved. So we always hear about the league being subsidized by the NBA. And as of right now, with the addition of the Toronto Tempo and the Portland Fire, it seems to have brought a shift of balance between the independent owners in the WNBA.
The league's financial situation has changed significantly from what many NBA owners formerly saw as a charity or a simple write-off. Do you recall the time Alex Rodriguez bought the Minnesota Lynx? He didn't even want it at first, but it was practically thrown into a bargain. Owners are now waiting in line, prepared to spend $350 million to acquire a franchise. This drastic change, sparked by Clark's unparalleled influence, has transformed a charitable endeavor into a hotly fought business that now requires significant financial leverage and strategic positioning.
Independently owned. There's a fight of power because of all this money coming in now. You know, because the WNBA is going to be a big, big deal at the end of the day. They're going to get a deal done. And with the Caitlin Clark and the younger players coming in with the profiles they have, the league is going to become bigger. And the independent owners, there are 9 independent owners compared to 6 subsidized teams that are owned by NBA teams, basically. Now, once you get to 2030, it'll be even because you'll have Philadelphia is going to be owned by NBA owner. Detroit going to be owned by NBA.
Player bonuses are a clear indication of this tectonic upheaval. Prior to Caitlin Clark, private jet travel was an uncommon luxury, maybe only available for postseason games or paid for by the commissioner. However, the standard has been clearly reset since her arrival. Everyone is always wearing pajamas these days. This is more than just a benefit. It's a clear indication of the league's increased financial power, a concrete representation of the players' increased value, and a tangible representation of the higher expectations that come with such a sharp increase in interest and earnings.
And 6 of y'all, it's a fight for power. And this is a prime example of what is going on. The Rockets owner expand talks to buy the Sun. Now, if you remember, the Connecticut Sun, we're not looking to sell to Tillman Fertitta, who owns the Houston Rockets, but Adam Silver is seeing to it. You best believe Adam Silver and Kathy Engelbert are not allowing, or they don't want a bunch more independent owners. They are getting these NBA guys to come in and buy these teams. And it's that
a serious mismatch in the league's ownership structure has been revealed by this unexpected increase in value. There are now 6 subsidized teams that are directly owned by NBA teams in addition to 9 independently owned WNBA teams, including the Connecticut Sun and Las Vegas Aces. Although the power dynamic created by this 9 and 6 divide is unstable, the future appears much more unpredictable. With the anticipated NBA ownership of additional expansion clubs in Philadelphia, Detroit, and Cleveland by 2030, the ratio will reach an even more combustible 50-50, paving the way for even more intense conflicts.
The dude from Boston was trying to take it over, and they wouldn't even allow him to skip the line. And they're privately owned. The WNBA is telling them who they are going to sell their team to. They are telling them who they're going to sell their team to. It's crazy work. It's crazy work. The WNBA previously indicated strong interest in a return to Houston at the league's 3-team expansion announcement in June. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert specifically highlighted Houston and Rockets owner Tillman Fertitta as up next and the one we have our eye on. The Sun.
When NBA owners try to impose their perceived supremacy on the independent WNBA teams by dictating terms and instructions, the war really shows up at the negotiating table. These independent owners passionately oppose being told what to do by organizations they perceive as different, even if they are largely shared, because they developed their franchises on their own. Financial stakes are not the only consideration here. Every facet of the league's operational independence and future governance is at risk due to this fundamental collision of ideologies and autonomy.
Okay, led by former, so he's not the owner of the Celtics right now, but he was going to move the team to Boston, $325 million. The WNBA stepped in and said, no, you can't sell it to them for $325 million. You are going to sell the team that you own independently. You are going to sell it to Tillman Fertitta for $250 million. You are going to $325. You can't take the $325. You're going to sell this team to an NBA owner, a current NBA owner. That is how they are moving. This is a real war that is going on. And
the most striking and indisputable illustration of this violent power struggle in action is the current dispute over the Connecticut Sun's possible sale. Unexpectedly thrown into the middle of this ownership struggle was the Sun, a successful independent brand. What started out as a regular investigation of investment possibilities swiftly turned into a startling demonstration of the WNBA's readiness to impose authority, even over the most basic rights of its independent teams, sparking indignation and exposing the full scope of the simmering dispute. Tillman Fertitta, the owner of the Houston Rockets, indicated a strong desire to buy the Sun, sparking rumors that the WNBA might return to Houston. The league's preference was evident when Commissioner Kathy Angelbert publicly and previously identified Houston and Fertitta as important objectives for growth. The WNBA's strong desire for more NBA-affiliated owners combined with Fertitta's constant offers produced enormous pressure, which set the scenario for the extraordinary intervention that followed, even though the Sun had not initially sought to sell to Fertitta. Then the shocking revelation arrived. The WNBA specifically intervened, determining who the Connecticut Sun could and could not sell their team to. This was more than just advice or preference. It was an order that could not be changed. The independent Sun proprietors were put in a precarious situation, being informed by the league office that their independently held franchise and private property were not really theirs to sell for free. The commissioner's plan to consolidate control under NBA ownership at all costs was vividly revealed by this extraordinary action. This coerced sale has extremely scandalous financial ramifications. Steve Pagluka, a former minority owner of the Boston Celtics, made the Connecticut Sun a record-breaking $325 million offer to move the team to Boston. The team's value and the league's growing potential were both reflected in this enormous price. The market was willing to pay more for a WNBA club, indicating a promising and lucrative future. This was a tremendous victory for the independent owners and a testament to their efforts. However, the $325 million offer was brutally turned down by the WNBA commissioners. Rather, they stepped in and successfully compelled the Sun to sell to Tillman Fertitta, the owner of the Rocket, for a modest $250 million, an astounding $75 million less. Imagine being informed that you are unable to accept a better, legitimate offer for your own company. It was more than just a difficult negotiation. Despite the substantial financial loss to the selling party, it was a direct financial hit that appeared to be intended to drive away independent owners and solidify ownership of NBA teams. A strong declaration of war against the independent proprietors is made by this flagrant intrusion. You are going to sell your team to our chosen buyer, an NBA owner, even if it means accepting $75 million less. The WNBA is telling them categorically. This degree of influence and control over privately held assets is unprecedented. It conveys a strong message. The upper brass of the league wants to change the ownership structure, consolidating authority and marginalizing anybody who don't align with the NBA-centric future vision at all costs. The crucial 2026 CBA discussions are now immediately at risk because of this intense ownership dispute. Reaching a deal with the players is getting harder because of the intense internal dispute over who owns the league and its resources. As owners quarrel among themselves, the fundamental trust and cooperation required for successful talks are quickly deteriorating. Future player contracts, benefits, and league stability are all negatively impacted by this high-stakes power move.